Back up. See yourself. Back up some. Look. Right there. You see? You see I told you? Oh, now. Oh, wow. Sit on my lap now. That again weekend. See? So you see yourself now. What's your name?
Bailey.
Bailey what?
Bradley.
Bailey Bradley? Yeah. I thought your name was Bailey Student of the Month of February.
Yay!
Mic check. More Than Masters podcast, was made of course. First and foremost, I want to thank all the supportive listeners, everybody who listened to the podcast over the last course of months, weeks, days, years, whatever. Shout out to y'all. You know, definitely without the listeners and the audience, I wouldn't be where I'm at. And I do appreciate the growth in comments that I've seen on YouTube and just the Facebooks, the messages. Like, I appreciate all of that. I always say that, but I know it sounds like it's just something I do like second nature, but I really, really do genuinely appreciate each and every comment I get. And to the point where I even realize when I don't get certain comments, like, damn, I want this person watching still. I want this person watching still. So don't ever think it don't go. Don't ever think it goes unnoticed. Let's start from there. Let's start with some music real quick, man. Let's get straight into it. Mic check. More Than Masters podcast, made of course. Oh, that tastes good, bro. I adore you. Mic check. That's why I always gotta, in a year or two. Mic check. It's only right we spend our lonely nights getting crazy biz while we awake the kids. Don't get too loud, got respect for your honey. To keep it all real, you come second to my money. Mic check. My ghetto love prophecy. Wow. Everybody love you, girl, not just me. You really care a lot. Mic check. Wanna see you happy, even if it's not. Hey. I used to think that line was kind of crazy when I was younger, like, but now I kind of can see it now. Let me know if this right here, something you can have for you. Mic check, man. More Than Masters podcast, hosted of course, man. I'm just gonna do Q&A today, to be honest with you. I just got a lot of questions, not a lot, but I got a good amount of questions that people sent in over the course of the last maybe 3 weeks. So I'm trying to go ahead and knock that out. If I didn't respond to your email, it's not because I don't care. It's not I'm blowing you off. It's literally me just trying to make sure I gather my questions up so I can do it thinking out loud. Don't matter who knows. I don't care who sees me thinking about you makes my life complete. And what I mean by that, then my whole world changes. Mic check. Mic check. Hey, I just saw the other day that two of the people in the group had a like thing going where they was like doing scissors. Never mind. It didn't even sound politically correct, so I'm gonna just let it go, leave it alone. I ain't gonna bother it. Second verse of Fires. When I'm with my friends, I'm trying to figure out a way to leave them behind, just to give back to you. Oh, you're my best kept secret, and that's the way I like it. You're my pride and joy, boy. That's why I'm dreaming of you. I wanna kiss you. Mic check. Mic check. Look, man, More Than Masters podcast was made of course, man. Let me turn that off for now. More Than Masters podcast was made of course. I just doing Q&A today. I try to get a threshold. So I try to get a certain amount of questions at a certain time so I can go ahead and do them. And I try to do them when I feel like I start either one, recycling topics, or I feel like I'm recycling topics, or two, I just get bombarded with questions from either one person or a group of people. And I'm like, well, let me just go ahead and do a thinking out loud so that I can put that out and then that be that. And that's usually how I've always done it since about 2017. So I do want to say, I hope everybody liked the influx of episodes I put out last week because I put out the Ash Williams episode, I put out the Elmo episode, I put out the Thinking Out Myself, and I put out the episode with Tarika Holland. All dope individuals, all social media influencers in some way, some form, all are big into the arts world, whether it be reading, whether it be writing, whether it be acting, skits, visuals, shooting, production, writing, acting, dancing. Like they all kind of got some form of fashion, a background in just the social media sense and pushing art to the next level. So I thought that was dope, a dope combination. I think each one gave me a dope episode. I know people remember Elmo from when he was on last year. I got a call about that, like, yo, his last episode was dope, but man, he's saying some stuff in this one, da da da. Ash, it blew up. Like people love to hear from her. And I think because she don't do podcasts, she don't like publicly speak 24/7. You kind of see posts from her and jokes and skits, and that's kind of where it stops. I think to see her in a serious setting, but still giving you the joking side of Ash, but then letting you into a little bit of her life and what she's been through, and then you kind of being able to like, okay, well, she's this kind of person. Okay, I've always wondered this about her. Now I see that she's like this. So, and if you never had a full blown conversation with her, I think that was the first time people was able to see her in full blown conversation mode. A lot of times on social media, we play a lot, we joke a lot, we entertain. So you don't know what's real and what's fake. And I think the dope thing about podcasts, it can give you the best of both worlds. You get the real, and then you get the entertainment side. And then with Tarika, I mean, she just amazing. Like to watch her grow from when I seen her in 2020, I think it was, or 2021 to 2024, is like 360. Like mine, it's almost the end of the year. So she been doing great things as far as like the production side, writing, directing, like just really walking into her calling in the arts world. And I think that she gave an amazing interview with her mom sitting right there. She came dressed, prepared, was just spoke well. Like she made, as a podcaster, like you got certain hosts, you got certain guests that's gonna make the podcast super easy for you to conduct. And she made it that way for me. Actually, all three of them made it that way for me. But I'm thinking about her and her growth. You know, I expected that from Elmo. I expected that from Ash just based off what I seen from her and in their age. They are my age group and just the mature level we have. I knew that we can conduct like, you know, certain conversations. The first time I met Tarika Holland, she was very, not standoffish, but just very closed. And she would expound on things, but not the way she did this week. So to see the growth was amazing, man. And I definitely give her some claps. You know, all three of my guests get claps, man. So y'all let me know what y'all think. Like, send me a message, comment. I don't know which episode from last week did you think was the best. Was it the Tarika? Was it Ash? Was it Elmo? Thinking Out Loud, you know, all that stuff. I didn't even post because my Thinking Out Loud because the episode was so good. I didn't want to take from their shine, but my original idea was to go Monday through Friday. I actually gonna just keep going. I was gonna go through every day and put an episode out just to stomp on everybody's head, but it didn't work that way. And then like, you know, we working and then people got schedule adjustments and stuff like that. So yeah, but I try to put out a big a fluxure of podcasts just to keep myself busy. So let's get into it. I don't have a certain list I want to go down, but it's not that many questions. So it says, who would be your dream guest to have on your show? Now, I get asked this question a lot in different ways, as far as a dream guest, favorite guest, best guest, and I typically give a different answer every time. But like for right now, like I try to stay, if I'm thinking local, I'm thinking like just in the area, as far as a dream guest, I would want to interview either a former mayor, a former sheriff, um, or yeah, former mayor or sheriff. Like I would take Roundtree. I would take Roundtree or I would take a former mayor, even if it's Copenhagen or the very last mayor we had. Like I would just want somebody who was in office and power that can kind of speak to the ins and outs of the politics, the decisions they made, why behind it, you know, pressure they was under from here. Because a lot of time what I find is that you get the better interviews and just the truth from people who were in office when they're out of office. When you're in office, you're still protecting certain relationships, certain individuals. You got a certain level of power you want to try to uphold. So you continue to, you know, keep certain relationships safe and sacred to you. And I think once you're out of office and you're no longer using those resources, or those resources are no longer using you, I think you're more prone to like be honest and say, oh, this is what's going on. This is this. You might be bitter, you might be upset. I don't care what it is, but I know the truth will come out. So I'd rather interview, I think for dream wise, like locally, it'd be something like that. Um, and if I'm thinking just like big time, I don't know, because like I said, I call it more than a master, so I try to keep it really, really Augusta driven. But I would say I want to interview somebody who was in sports, right? But have like maybe somebody who played in the Masters, right? But they have a love for the city of Augusta. And maybe they have some background in Augusta. I would want to do that. So if we had a homegrown, like a guy who was from Augusta who won the Masters, then I would want to interview that person, not about the Masters per se, but just about their journey, living and growing up in Augusta, and then, playing and or winning or with the Masters. I think that'd be dope to do. Just because it fit with the theme and the title. But I'm not super like name heavy. Like I don't just go after a name. It's all about the person for me. It's all about the story. I feel like the bigger the name, it don't always mean the bigger the story. It don't always mean the podcast is gonna be more compelling. I might get more views, it might get watched more, might get shared more. But I would tell you my watch time for some of my videos are people who like aren't even like super known. Their story is just like insanely dope, and people want to see that, as opposed to somebody who's like super popular. So it's like a microwave that for that week I put it out, it's gonna be hot on fire, everybody watching it, but then it dies over time. Like I think my right now one of my best videos to date is Bianca the lawyer. Um and because like I said, I get comments on that daily. Like every day I get comments on that. Every single day. And I screenshot it to her and she'll go reply, or she'll reply to me and say reply that way. So I'm not a name whore. I just kind of go off like the vibe and what I think the story gonna be and how it relates to Augusta and the name of the title more than the master. That's all I really care about. Um, Out of all the episodes you recorded and was a guest on, which one was your favorite and why? Uh, Out of all the episodes I was a guest on, man, I was a guest on that's a tough question. I don't think I read that question all the way. Now I just copy and paste them. I don't think I read that question all the way through because I probably wouldn't put that on here because it's kind of hard. Like, cause I've done Slim podcasts, I've done everybody podcast. Now I think about it, right? So to say who was the best one that I recorded, but it wasn't mine. Let's see. Brandon's was pretty funny. Hey, Brandon, he's a funny guy. So I was on his twice. I think we had a good chemistry just because he willing to learn, and I don't know, it wasn't interview style. It was just like we just had a conversation. So then Brandon's was dope. Um, Tommy's is dope. He has a very unorthodox style of podcasting. So you never know which way he's going. So sometimes you leave there confused, like, damn, what just happened? You know what I'm saying? So I like that too. Um, Slim is always a good time. Slim don't really interview though. Slim is a conversation. Like you're gonna have a conversation when you go with him. Like even if it's centered around something for you. Like I don't think I ever went on Slim podcast and he just asked me, besides the first time, a bunch of questions like just to break me down and get to know me. It's always been like just conversation based. And I like conversation based, but I'm thinking about interviews going somewhere. Wow. I just shared my newbie vet interview today. I like that interview just because I like the aesthetics of it. But the favorite one, and I hope I'm not missing nobody. Like I don't want to miss nobody. Like I was on this person's show and I didn't. Ready to be accountable was. You know what? I would say that I had a dope time on Ready to Be Accountable. Now when they first started out, they content was a little different than what it is right now, but I definitely think at that time, for what they motive was and what picture they were trying to paint, that would might be my favorite one because I think you open up about a lot of stuff, whether it be fatherhood, being a son, the dynamic of you and your dad, losing family, dealing with grief, the pressures of a teen boy going outside. I think we was able to open up, and I remember at the time, a friend of mine hit me and was like, "Yo, y'all gonna make me cry. Like this is dope. This is dope." And how we talked about it, it was just in the sense of like they would think about their son and like his relationship with his dad and the household that he was in at the time and what that meant to him and what it was doing to his mental and I just think it was dope. So that probably was my favorite one to date. Maybe ready to be accountable. Like I said, when I say their content was different, then they had a different I would say mission statement, but they are wide range. They on purpose. So I think they purposely like switch it up and do different stuff based on what's working for them and what they want to push. So definitely shout out to them boys are ready to be accountable, man. Good guys. Um, how do you stay motivated to keep producing new episodes? I just keep pushing. Like that's with anything. I ain't gonna lie. I'm a pusher. Like I'm gonna keep pushing. And honestly, it's not super hard to stay motivated to do something when you constantly motivating other people. So like I would be remiss if I went ahead and been motivating people to do better. You gotta do better. Be more consistent. You gotta do this. You gotta do that. And here I am, not being consistent, not doing this and not doing that. Like it don't work. Like if I'm gonna practice, this to people or preach this to people, I gotta practice that. So if I'm practicing consistency, good quality, quality over quantity, making sure you do your research, stepping in to what you're doing, your approach to the art form, your approach to how you put the art out, how the art is received, caring about it, going to the drawing board, seeing your mistakes, finding those out, and going ahead and reintroducing yourself as a better artist each time you step to put out art. I gotta practice that, so it's not hard for me to be motivated to produce episodes, and that's for myself because I'm my own producer. But then also when I produce other people episodes, like I'll talk to them like, "Yo, hey, if y'all did this, I think it's better. I think it's better if you kind of don't be on your phone while this person's talking. I think it's better if you bring the mic here. Matter of fact, you actually hold mics because that would stop you from doing certain things like." The way my mind looks and thinks, I'm thinking about maybe 10, 12 different things as we're recording. The audio piece is always the most important part. The conversation is always the most important part. But it's a lot of other things that go along with it. The lighting, the position, whether you should hold a mic or have a mic here. Uh, the line of questioning, what I'm saying? The follow-up questions, taking questions out, like, you know what, that's not necessary. Really breaking down, making sure that if you don't understand it, you get an understanding, because if you don't understand it, the audience also may not understand it as well. So when I think about production from that standpoint, I'm always motivated because it's always something to do. Like when producing is always something to do. You always can edit better. You always can shoot better. You can always have better audio. You can always have different topics. You can always ask better questions. You can always do something different, something better. And I strive to get better and better each time. Like I get a lot of credit and a lot of kudos for my interview style or how I approach certain interviews, how I start this off, how I do that. I get a lot of that, but it never make me not want to get better at it. Like, actually, the more I get, the more I want to get better. The more I take that in consideration, like, okay, cool. The way that I started that episode off was dope to them, so I want to kind of have that kind of same feel. The way I approached this was dope. I want to have that same feel. And so it's not hard to be motivated to produce new episodes or to do episodes because I like the feedback. Like the best part of all of this be the feedback for me. Like I mentioned earlier about my daughter, my youngest daughter, how I know that she liked the praise. She liked to get the praise for things she do. So I made her getting Student of the Month a big deal. Well, I don't live for the praise for the podcast sense, but I do like when I get a message saying how good the podcast is. I do like when I get a message talking about the podcast. Actually, those are my favorite messages. You guys, some people favorite messages might be like a nude or a selfie or a video of toes and this. I love when I get podcast messages about my podcast and how it either uh, helped somebody do something, how it either affected somebody's day in a positive way or negative, whatever, affects somebody's day, how I can improve, how they learned something, what they liked about it, disliked about it. I just love to have that dialogue about the art I'm putting out so that I can get better at whatever I'm putting out. And that's whether it's positive or negative. I'm gonna take both. Long as it's set in a respectful way, I'm cool. I don't have no problems with it at all. I don't think that was a question, but I know I answered it. Uh, do you ever have to face any negative feedback from your audience? If so, how do you deal with it? Negative feedback. You know, I won't say I have to deal with negative feedback because I think we all got different opinions and we all got different, all come from different walks of life. And so I'm cognizant to the point that, to the fact that, the way I think may not be the way somebody else thinks. What I feel may not be the way somebody else feels. How I view something, how I interpret something may not be the same way somebody else interprets something. And I have to be 100% okay with that, as well as I'm expecting them to be 100% okay with the fact that I don't think like them and view things like them. So I wouldn't say negative. I would say constructive. If it's negative, it's because maybe somebody may think I'm talking about them or I said this about them. That's the only time it becomes, or is ever viewed as negative, because typically it's really odd because you could say 1,000 nice things about somebody or anybody, whatever, on the pod or on the show, whatever, shout them out, whatever the case may be. Like you could say a bunch of nice things, whatever, and you might not hear nothing about it, right? But the minute you say something that they would deem negative or they would deem to not be to their liking, you'll hear about it. And so I take that into consideration as well. But I also take into consideration the fact that people that watch the podcast that know me in real life also know that like it's a possibility that I may say something that may affect them. So if I do get negative backlash from an audience, it's probably because I personally know them, and I might have spoke on something that one they didn't want me to speak on, or I spoke in what they were seeing to be out of term or out of context, or just it wasn't up to their liking. And so yeah, I've dealt with that, and like I said, it just be one of them things where I just say what I say and I say what I feel. I've never been a person that really like throw names out in a negative way. If I say a name, it's always positive or it's always a funny way or something like that. I never like got on here and said somebody's name and just been super negative about it. And that's even if I was going at somebody throughout the whole episode. Like I've had episodes where I went at somebody, and those are, you can find maybe 2, 3 of those, but it's usually not a problem I started. It's probably a problem that somebody else started, and I just chose to use the microphone to finish it, as opposed to going to see about them. So I wouldn't say like a negative. I wouldn't say a negative backlash. I never, but I play it safe for the most part. Like I ain't gonna get up here and talk about nothing I feel like is gonna cause too much drama. Like it ain't gonna cause too much. It might cause a little drama, but not too much drama. Like I ain't really into all that. But I say what I feel and I speak my mind 100%. And typically, if I say something about somebody and it's not negative, because I'm always gonna do both sides, and I think that's super important to say. I don't tell my business a lot because I don't feel like I don't feel the need. Let me take that back. I don't tell my business a lot. One, I'm a proud person, but two, I feel like in telling your business, it wouldn't be fair for me to just tell my side. I have to tell both sides, and I can't tell another person's side half the time. I can say what I did that was maybe wrong about something and say what happened and now how I feel about it. And I think that's the only good equation I could come from that. But I can't tell somebody else's side. And I say that to say, when you think in relation to like negative backlash, that's usually where it comes from. Like, oh, but you didn't say this, but you didn't say that, but you didn't say that. So it's a lot of that sometimes. I've ran into that a few times where I spoke about personal situations, and, a person felt away and they might have posted something back or text or hit me up and said, yo, you said such and such. You should have said, blah, blah. Yeah, I received that. But, at the end of the day, like I said, anybody can start a podcast and talk about what they want to talk about. I never stopped anybody from starting their own podcast. And somebody can start a podcast today and just, it could be the rebuttal podcast of everything I do. And they can go live, watch the video and say, Pop, he said that. So what y'all don't know is da 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 da, and they can kind of have their own podcast if it's that deep to put their story out. But normally I paint pictures in such a way that a person ain't gonna really know I'm talking about a person per se, unless you just really, really know. That's number one, or you're that person. And also, I try to paint it and I speak in general terms. So yeah, I may be talking to you. Yes, you motherfucker looking at me. I'm talking to you. I'm just playing. But I may be talking to you, but I'm speaking in general terms. It's just that because you know the situation, you know me, you may, feel like that's kind of, I'm speaking in negative terms to you. But that's usually not the case though. But I don't deal with that too often. How do you balance podcasting with work, home life, and still be successful? I'm a Libra. We just balance things. Now I typically all my life I've been somebody who's been able to balance a lot of stuff. So whether it be responsibilities, pressure here, peer pressure there, in home, out of home, schoolwork, homework, like whatever, outside stuff, around this way, I just always been able to balance a lot of stuff very well and still when you say be successful, I think that's subjective, but I think I've been able to balance a lot and still look like I'm carrying it well. You know, so you might have a bunch on your shoulders. So like even recently, all I'm going through, whatever. So you may balance a lot, but then you might see me and I might smile, I might be joking, I might be laughing, but I'm just handling it well in public. You know, you never know what somebody doing when they hit the bed or hit the shower. Like you don't know, like what kind of nights I've had, or you know what days that just I just couldn't get through, or what got me through. You just never know, and that's the thing. It's like it's knowing who to have conversations with. It's knowing who to have in your circle, who not to have in your circle. And I think that's another thing too. Like I've been able to balance a lot well because things that drain me, I usually try to stray away from or stay away from. You know, so if something is draining me, I can't be around it while I'm trying to balance all this stuff. So at some points, somebody or something has to go. You know, if it's draining me, if it's and I'm big on like I think Big Sean of all people got a quote. He said uh blah, 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 energy crazy. I realize that it's a two-way street. What's coming is going. If it don't bring you more, it drains you. And I really I feel that way. Like what's coming is gone. So whatever don't give me more, or don't give like what I want more of, or don't feed into me, or don't make me blossom. I feel like it's killing me, or it's stopping me from growing, and I don't want it around. And I posted something today on Twitter. It was like I know I went through a lot, and I don't know if the ending part was like I appreciate everybody put their hands on my back instead of my chest. And what I meant by that is like, I appreciate everybody who had pushed me. Like you pushed me to keep pushing. Your hands on my back. You rest me. You give me that push as opposed to putting your hand in my chest and stopping me from going where I need to go. So you're in my way more than helping me get to where I want to get to. That's all I meant. But I definitely feel like the balance got to come with the company you keep, the village you got, and the people you got around you. Like I said, I always been around people who speak life into me. So even on days where I feel like I can't do it, I might talk to my sister. You know what I'm saying? I might talk to a friend. I might have a conversation with a very close person to me, and that may make me feel like, okay, I'm doing something right. It might be somebody I admire, somebody I look up to that call me. Sometimes Karen Gordon, Donald Doe, like they might call, hit me up, like, yo, I like what you're doing, I like what you're doing. And these people I look up to, I'm like, yo, okay, dope. So I'm doing the right thing. It might be somebody I ain't heard from in a while, and they say something about, yo, you doing this, that's dope, da da da. Cool, I like that. It depends on the people around you, and the village you got, and then just it's never just a me thing. Like I don't want to anything I ever do or say to make it sound like it's just me, 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 me. It ain't never just me. It's always we. That's the Trevor line. It's never me. It's always we. And I think teamwork makes the dream work. So if you got a good team, then you get to go. And I know I do a lot of stuff by myself, but it's just the tangible stuff that you see. Like the phone conversations, you don't get to hear about those. My daughter's telling me how proud they are of me, or what I do for them and how much they love me. You don't get to see that all the time. The camera's not always on. And so that's how I balance it. I balance it by what brings me life, what makes me smile. And sometimes like this fatherhood, it's working, and it's the podcasting. Those are things that make me smile, but all like breathe life into me. My daughters, they are super appreciative of everything I do for them, and they love the hell out of me, and they show it, and they prove it every day, and I don't have to question it. I love coming home to them. The podcast, I put them out. I get the comments, get the share, I get the call, I get the text, I get the YouTube video, I get the emails about how great it was, what it did for them. It's dope. I like that. Boom. I go to work. I can afford to do everything I need to do. I go to work. I'm influencing people. You leave a place, somebody telling you, oh man, I missed it when you was here. You made it easy. This, that, and third, man, you was great. Da da da. That stuff I like to do. So in every facet of life, you try to make sure you can positively affect somebody or have some positive effect on people. Because without that, then I ain't really doing nothing. I feel like I'm just kind of just riding the wave. But I always try to make a positive impact on whatever I'm doing or wherever I'm at. And that's just how that's how I balance things out, man. I balance it out by the positivity it brings me. So okay. Next question. This is very personal, but I'm gonna go ahead and answer it anyway. It says, do you have a love interest? And I feel like, don't we all? We all are interested in love. And yeah, definitely. You got a love interest. like I said, I'm a pretty private person for the most part. Um, so I try to keep, you know, that side of my life to me because I'm in social media. You know, you in the mix. It's a saying that it's not really good to kind of talk about that kind of stuff, or I guess like put it out there like that, just because you know what you're doing, and maybe people you'll lose a fan base or you lose that stuff. I ain't never really subscribed to that part. That's not why I don't do it. Because if I didn't have a podcast and I didn't have a platform, I still would be moving the same exact way. I think you learn from past things you've done, and I know that nothing is ever guaranteed. Nothing is forever. I don't care what nobody tell you. Like I don't care how head over heels somebody is. It don't matter. Like at any given day, something can be snatched away, or things can just change, whether it be something you did or whether it be life chances, whatever. Like it just shit happens, right? And I never want to be a person that like just putting all this stuff out there, putting all this stuff out there, putting all this stuff out there, and then one day I got to start moving different. Everybody like, hey, so what happened with? I don't want to hear that. Don't ask what happened with nobody. Don't worry about such and such. It ain't your business. You know what I'm saying? So I try to keep my business private. Now if I got married or something like that, that might be different because I feel like then, you know, somebody got your last name, it shouldn't even matter at that point, you know? And y'all just got stuck together for life. But yeah, definitely definitely got love interest. It says favorite received comment slash feedback from any episode this year. Um I'm gonna just go with the latest one. Like I do get them all the time, and I'm not trying to make it seem like I just get a bunch like fan mail and like that. No, it might be 6 to 7 to 10 things that I get, but the last episode I put out, I not the last thing I put out, one before that, 107. I think that might have been the one I got the best feedback from. And I had posted a picture on my Instagram and it said October so far. And I posted the screenshot from that. And it pretty much was just telling me like how they appreciate the growth. Because it was somebody I've known. And it was like, I know we don't speak like, you know, on some serious type stuff, but I'm super proud of your growth. I'm super proud of you able to, see what you're doing and how you're progressing and, you know, just stuff like that. And I thought that was dope because at the end of the day, I'm not doing it for that. But it also was like, you know, it was prophetic because, you know, they started going to the Bible stuff. I ain't gonna lie, I ain't too crazy about the Bible stuff. I ain't gonna lie to you. But I liked it because I didn't talk about none of the stuff I talked about with intentions on it seeming biblical or it seeming uh am I saying the word right? Is it prophetic? Or is it like I don't like? I wasn't trying to seem like a prophet, like I can read. I don't know. I just felt like it's a feeling I had that you know you go through things and you feel like you're at your lowest and you go through things, but I feel like it's just nowhere to go but up. So hopefully it's stuff, positive stuff, great stuff, and just on the way to me. That's all I was saying. I don't know nothing about it being in the Bible, none of that stuff, but that was a good comment I got so far. Like I like that comment a lot. Like the more wordy, the better. But also, well, no, the next question I'm gonna answer that. It says your favorite thinking out loud from this year, and I liked all of them. This is probably the least I've done them in ever, but I liked all of them. But um, it's probably my Richard McQuan. I ain't gonna lie, the Richard McQuan one because like you know, that was tough. I had fun doing it. I like playing music. I like joking, being silly, showing a different side of me. I'm a real stiff, just like person. If you're around me, like I'm not ain't too much stuff that's funny. It's just like I don't even find people funny. I don't even find people amusing like that. Like it's a few funny people that you know, okay, cool. But if I ever sent you a LOL, I probably won't laughing, bro. I'm just gonna keep it a beam with you. Like I was not laughing if I ever sent you a LOL. I don't find people funny like that. It's how I be. I be like, I text back. But in all seriousness though, another comment I did get that it was a comment, but it was like a snap video, kind of like, and it was the 100th thinking out loud. And I remember anticipating this particular part because I contemplated taking that part out. I felt like I got way too emotional Shout out to Juanito. He gave me them questions about my dad, but it was all back to back to back to back. And I could feel myself getting emotional or just feeling a little weaker. I could feel my eyes watering up. I could feel my throat getting itchy to where like I might have to just pace myself and how I was going to speak on my words. And I remember getting a snap, and I remember the expressions and everything that they sent. And it was like, I can't watch this. Like I just remember like vividly, and I remember thinking like, yo, I almost took that part out, and I probably should have, because I never want nobody to be sad because I'm sad. It just was a moment I had trying to give a lot of myself to the art at that moment. So that's when you ask my favorite thing aloud and think aloud comments. It's not one I can read. I just vividly remember it. Like it didn't. I remember like even thinking like, okay, you send them out to people and people watching. I remember like certain people not even bringing that part up, which was dope. It's fine. But it made me wonder if they really listened to it, or if they even paid attention, if they watched it, or they just let it play and just say, oh, okay, cool. Because I remember like that snap making me realize, okay, that part of the episode was super meaningful to somebody, some people. And I remember even I think Q, he hit me about it. And I got messages about that particular part. So I think that might be it, because I'm not that kind of person. I'm not a very emotional, like teary-eye kind of guy. That ain't my style. And I didn't go for the gusto trying to do that. It was just like Juan just really had the questions back to back, and I just, you just kind of lose it. Um, it says, "Are we the fans gonna see any pod merch?" I don't know. Be honest with you, probably not. I'm gonna get with Slim and see if we can work something up, maybe. Um, but I don't know. I might be. I'm not gonna say I'm done with it, but I only do partnerships. Like I don't want to pay for merch and sell it, because it costs too much when you paying it and then you reselling it to make money back from what you paid. I'm a partnership person, so I'll invest in someone to get like a machine, and then we can start, working out. I'll pay for the machine and they just do the work, and they can do the stuff on the side and make mine for me. I'll do something like that. But if it's not something like that, then I probably ain't gonna do it. Uh, I'm not trying to resell something that I'm buying just to sell it. It ain't me. But if you're a real good fan, I'll give merch away as a contest if that's what y'all want. Y'all want contests, y'all want me to do trivias and stuff, I would do it for that. But as far as like the selling the merch, that ain't really my jam right now. Uh Most prized memory from each daughter, most proud achievement or growth or trait. Okay, hold on. I don't know if this is one question. We're gonna make it one question now. So most prized memory from each daughter. Uh that's a tough one. I might need to come back to that one. That's a tough one. Most prized memory from each daughter. Hmm. I don't know. I can't. When you say pride memory, I don't know about pride, because we do so many things, and I got so many different great stories for both of them. But I would tell you for my oldest, and I think one of the questions is who do you see you in? Okay, so I'm gonna answer all that gonna be together. So it says most proud memory from each daughter, most proud achievement or growth or trait, and who do you see you in? So I'll start with the oldest, Brooke. So I'm not gonna say it's most proud memory, but something I remember. I like to bring it up is Brooke got her own like way of doing things, the way she liked to like dress and certain things like that, right? So she's not like super crazy into like the dressing up, like girly girl like type thing. And I think her mom wanted her to get like a dress or something for like her fifth grade like graduation type thing, and she just was not trying to go for it. They on the phone back and forth, but mom took the mom route and was kind of momming on her, right? And I respect it because we got a co-parent, but I could see it in Brooke's face that and this thing about Brooke, she's kind of like me. She don't really show too much emotion, but I remember seeing like her about to break, like far like about to cry. And Brooke ain't cried in I don't know like how long, like maybe since she was maybe 6 or 7, like just far as like just crying. Like we don't even do that at the house. Like that That ain't a thing. Like people crying is not a thing. Now it is maybe, but like up until all that stuff happened, that wasn't a thing. And so I'm like, all right, I got it. Don't worry about it. Cool. Hang up. I went to Brooke. I said, give me a hug. She hugged me. I feel her, I could feel her in my chest. I could feel she was crying. You know, you could feel it. You could feel them crying. I could feel the tear in her eye, but I feel I'm like, just get yourself together. Cause her sister also don't really see her cry, you know? Like, so I don't want her sister to see her cry as well, because they tease each other and joke. So I'm like, get right, you know. Are you good? I got you. We gonna get you what you want. We gonna get you what you want. Hugging her. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I go to like 3-4 different stores trying to get what she want. And we get what she want. And she's happy. The next day she dresses up. That's in her style like she like. She looks still look presentable, still look pretty, still look beautiful. And we went about it. And it's not like a prize memory per se, but it's just I like to talk about like the type of father I am, but also you knowing your kids. I knew that that's not what she wanted to do. I get that sometimes kids don't have choices, but something like that you can have a choice. She's a great kid, never got in trouble, do her work. Like, I mean, anybody that knows me, that ever been on the phone with me, ever been around me, ever taught me, been around the kids or seen them in any kind of setting, gonna tell you like Brooke really do her own thing. She's like gonna not bother you to the 100th power. Like at all. And that's what I like about it. That's what when you say, what do you see? Who do you see you in? I see me in both of them. And I think it's a point in my life where I was like, Brooke, I'm just closed off. Leave me alone. I'm gonna do my thing. I ain't gonna bother nobody. Nobody bother me. And I'm good. Let me have my fun. I'm gonna chill. And I see that in her. Just chill to herself, nonchalant, very nonchalant. Oh my God, it's insane. If anybody think I'm nonchalant, you gotta meet Brooke. I mean, the girl don't have emotion for anything. Hey, they ain't had the store, you know. Oh, okay. Like, it's your favorite. You sure you want it? No, I'm good. Like she just okay. Um Now Bailey, that's a different one. My youngest, as far as a memory, oh my God, there's so many. I could tell you as far as a prize memory from Bailey. It's just, oh God, so many. I'll tell you this, man. We talk about podcasting. So I've been doing it for a minute. I was telling Carlton, he was in a minute ago, and I was telling him, I said, yo, man, I remember, I would bring Bailey with me. Bailey was like, could fit in the side of my arm, my size of my arm right here, you know what I'm saying, for a long time. And I would bring her, and we'd set up Friday nights. We'd set up. We did audio only. We set up. So we all set up. I got Bailey right here. I got the microphone right here. I'm talking, we doing our stuff. Yeah. Fine, nice. I'm calling with the heat, man with the cool. And we just talking 2 hours, mind you. We had 2 hour podcast. We had a deal with the radio at the time. 2 hours. It's about 15 minutes in, 20 minutes in. I'm rocking as we talking. I'm rocking as we talking. 30 minutes in, 30. She sleep. From the rest of the time, she sleep. I put her down. She sleep, knocked out. And Carlton could contest to that. Keidra could attest to that. They were there and seen it. Like, I put her to sleep as we recording. 2 hours, we just recording. I'm holding her. She's sweating on me. I'm wet right here, or on my chest, you know what I'm saying? And we just recording. We going through the topic. We going through whatever, And that's a memory. That's a good memory for me, but possession for me. But when you ask about, character traits and stuff like that, I just like that, when you have daughters that's like night and day, so to speak, not no pun intended, I know one light skin, one dark skin, but when I say night and day, even personality wise, one is outgoing, one is like very standoffish and just like inside. One is like very outspoken, one is like just soft, whatever. One likes to like super like to read, the other one like to just play games all day, So they're different in that sense. So I would say right now is a good prize memory. She just one student a month, and I made it a big deal for a reason because, like I said, I know my kids, and Bailey's the kind of kid that like she wants stuff she does to get praised. Like she not saying she needs it, but she wants it. And when a kid works or your child works that hard to prove themselves, because Brooke is super smart. Like, I mean, like amazingly smart. I mean, like they sent something in the email the other day and said she's reading at a 9th grade level. You know what I'm saying? She just I don't know. She must have got it from me. I don't know. She must have got it from me. I don't know. Like, she just super smart. And it's not to say that Bailey's not, but Bailey has to try harder. So the stuff that Brooke can just do, and I don't think it helped Brooke or Horace. She might have been in second grade, third grade. I don't know. Like she just does it. She just knows it. Okay, cool, cool, boom, boom, boom. It's very rare she needs my help. Bailey kind of, hey daddy, need you help me? Daddy, I need you help me. What's this? What's going? So Bailey, she has you gotta be more attentive with her. And so for her to win student of the month like her sister did, I know that's a big deal for her. And so I just made it a big deal and you wanted to, kind of do what you would do if it was Brooke. You want a kid to feel like that's a good thing to do. It's a good thing to strive for. Student of the month. And I see Bailey in me just because she is spitting image for one, but she do a lot of things I do. Bailey. So I do a few things. Like I rub my ear a lot as I'm sucking my tongue. So I might go like, what I'm saying, I might do something like that. That's soothing to me. I might just suck my tongue sometimes. So I might do that a lot. Like it's soothing, make me fall asleep. Um, I feel like I'm a very touchy feely. I like to feel like mainly cheek. So like a cheek here, a cheek. Um, the back of my leg right here, like the leg part of your leg, the back of your arms, your neck, your ears. I like to touch the body. Basically the same way she'll just rub my ear all day. She'll rub my cheek all day. She'll lay on my chest and just like rub my arm all day. That's I see that in me. Like I see that in her. That's in me. Like she got those traits, like the physical of wanting to touch and just what soothes her, and that's just being like held and just that kind of thing. So definitely got that from me. We almost done. I got two more. I think two more. How does it feel to engage and be a part of topics and conversations for politics and community awareness and growth? Uh, it felt good. I mean, it felt good to have a voice. So I mean, anybody could be a part of those topics. Technically speaking, you could be a part of the topic in a barbershop, on Facebook. You could jump in somebody's comments, just amongst your friends and your family at the dinner table or family gatherings. Like anybody could be a part of the conversation. But I think to have a voice and for people to want to come here and have that conversation, I think is the dopest. Because I didn't start out with being anything with politics. Like I always give Kim Macon credit for that. One of the first time I dabbled into politics, he was like, "Be careful," and I'm like, "What do you mean, be careful?" I took that personal. Shout out to Kim Macon, man. But he was right because I wasn't careful, but you learn to navigate through those conversations. It's funny because politics is so political that you gotta be political even addressing the politics and the political politics between political. Like you really gotta address all of that stuff for real. Like you gotta really walk a certain line, and those conversations are sometimes hard to have if one person isn't being all the way 2 feet in, but the awareness part, I love it. I love to hear somebody's story, like whether it be anything. I think the lupus was a good one. Domestic violence is tough. It's some tough ones. Cancer, Pride Month. I think that's dope. It's just any form of awareness. I'm willing to tell somebody's story or have them tell their story rather, and do via questions and podcasts and conversation. Those are dope because you get to learn about that awareness or that whether it's a disease, whether it's just a sickness, whatever, you get to learn about it firsthand by somebody who has or is experiencing it. And you don't have to assume, like this is their story. And then to kind of put it out on the forefront and bring it to light is also just amazing. So, but I just like that people like to come here and address those things. I think Karen Gordon was right before my life changed. Karen Gordon was that person that came up here and she brought her friend Judith with her, and shout out to them. They did an amazing job. We talked about breast cancer and the news of getting it, the devastation you feel, the process of wanting to cut your breast, just a lot. The thought of not being who you once were, the thought of losing your identity, the thought of losing your drive for certain things, like the thought of having to go to chemo, and maybe it's just so much when you think, and that's just one awareness group we talking about. It's a bunch of them, and everybody got their own story. So that's it's dope. It's bittersweet because it's dope to get it out there. It's dope to get the information. It's dope to even learn in the process of interviewing and podcasting with somebody about whatever it is, this disease or sickness or whatever you want to call it, whatever it is. um, it's dope to get that. But the bitterness comes from the fact that somebody had to go through or is going through it, and you have to ask these questions and you watch them get emotional, you watch them cry, you watch them break down, you gotta pause, you gotta stop. Like that's tough, but it comes with the territory. And like you just gotta prepare yourself and really brace yourself for that kind of conversation. The last one, it says, where do you find the strength to handle the personal struggles while owning being a father and man of the house? Well, it just for me is the last part, man in the house. Like you got a job to do at the end of the day. Like I'm not saying you can't be weak. I ain't saying you can't cry. I ain't saying you can't feel like you overwhelmed. You can definitely do all those things, but once you feel it, you gotta move on. Like that's it. I don't get paid to be overwhelmed. I can't pay the bills with, hey, I got a bunch of overwhelmed I'm feeling. Can I just pay half overwhelmed, half cash? It don't work that way, right? So you gotta keep moving, you gotta keep pushing. I can't inspire just because I'm overwhelmed. Like I won't be able to inspire people that way. Uh I like to carry it a certain way. I like to balance my stuff, balance my problems. Like you talking about, issues I might have going on. Yes, your mom with a stroke, your best friend, like the person you lean on, that's no longer that person anymore. Okay, cool. Find a way to be there for her and you keep moving. As long as you still have her. Like I'm definitely uh appreciative of the fact that I still have her here breathing. But it's still a lot to go on with it. You got attitudes, you got slip ups, you got regression, you got progress, and you got regress. And it's like, okay, damn, you were just fine last week. Now you're not fine. It's a lot that go into that. You could be having a good day. You could walk and see, your mom crying. It's like, damn, you can't do nothing because you can't, you know? And then, you got bills, you got your own personal life, you got stuff, but that ain't going right there. And you got, identity issues of like stuff you going with, stuff you going through, whether it be job change, whether it be uh just stuff with your siblings, whether tough conversations outside of all that other stuff, people needing you, you having to be there for people, it's all of that stuff that I'm pretty sure you talking about that you have to balance. You don't have no choice. You have to do it. Like you have to find a way to do that. And for me, it ain't hard. When you say you find the strength of, all that stuff and while being a father, it all comes with the territory. You know what I'm saying? I speak to my kids very candidly. Now I tell them like, you gotta do it this way. You gotta be this way. It is happening because of this happening because of that. I'm very open with them on how I'm feeling, on what's going on, whether it be with their grandmother, whether it be with me and their mother, whether it be with me and somebody else, whatever. Like I'm always very vocal with them about, hey, what do you think about this? Hey, what do you think about that? Like my kids, I ask them questions. I want them to feel like they're a part of my life and part of my decision making in my life. So I ask them questions. So the father part to me that comes second nature because my kids are the best thing in my life ever. Like it's nothing better than talking about you. It's nothing better than my baby or her sister. Um, at all. Like that's what I live for. So the fatherhood part is always gonna be taken care of, long as I can provide and have a way of income and to make sure that I accommodate them with certain things. But all the other stuff, that's where you have to balance that. But I have to pick my battle. Some days that's not the battle I can pick. I might not pick that battle that day. Fatherhood is an everyday thing. All them problems and issues, I might have to pick one on Tuesday, two on Wednesday, three on Thursday, and just kind of go from there. Like, what day I'm strong? Okay, I'm strong on Friday. Okay, them 4 problems, I put them on Friday. You gotta. It's like a schedule. You gotta schedule these problems and issues, and then you do your own thing. And then the man of the house thing is just like, I mean, you gotta provide. You gotta do what you gotta do. And that's my household. And then as if you helping somebody else out, you helping somebody here. Like, if you are a go-to person for somebody, if your best friend needs you, your man's needs you, whatever. Like balancing all that is definitely tough. Sorry. So when you ask, where do you find the strength? Um, it's there. You just gotta find it within. That's the answer. Really within. You find that strength within yourself. Like that's it. Like it's either in you or it's not in you to have that kind of strength. And then you find it amongst your people. Like I had a podcast, a thing I put out last week, and I said, and I probably shouldn't have said it this way, but I mean, it is what it is, right? I said, my problems are my problems. But when I say my, I don't just mean me personally. Like, mine could be, yeah, it's me, but it's a circle of people when I say me, or it's supposed to be a circle of people when I say me. So when I say my problems, it's certain people that feel like, okay, that's also mine, because there's certain people that, but if they tell me I got a problem, I know automatically it's my problem as well, because that's their problem. And because of how close they are to me and what they mean to me, I'm gonna make that my problem, or I'm gonna help them with that problem, so it's no longer a problem for that person. And so when I say my problems are my problem, I mean that, like, I might have a best friend, I might have a person here, that I know, okay, if I tell them this problem, instead of it being on one person, I could break it down to be three people problems, whatever. And we can kind of divvy it up that way. So you're gonna need a team, or you're gonna need a family, or just some kind of like a support system there. Now, I say that and say that's what I meant when I said that, or what I mean when I say that. However, I don't do that. Like, I do really handle all my problems like on my own, like for the most part. Like, I can't think of the last time even when my dad was alive, or when my mom was working and well and able, like, I've never, I might have been, I can't even think of the time I asked my dad for money. I might have been like maybe 18, if that. If that, maybe no, when I graduated, 2020. So I'm lying. I think I was 20. So I was 22 the last time I asked my dad for some money. And then with my mom, I never asked her for money since I was like, I don't know, maybe around the same time. Maybe I'm capping. Maybe around the same time. Might be lying. Maybe around the same time. So, you think about that's 10, almost 10, it's like almost a decade of time just not asking. So, and if not your parents, who? You know what I'm saying? Not your parents, who? So I think that's where it comes from, like, just kind of building on fixing your problems and doing stuff on your own. It becomes second nature, but you find that strength within. But I also have always been willing to help people. Um, was always willing. Like, it's a quote where somebody said, like, when it comes to my folks, was always willing. And I felt like, come on, family. If I look at you as family, I'm always willing to help you. So if you my significant other, if you my daughter, if you we got kids together, if you ever love me, you know what I'm saying, like, as far as like family, if you show me love, if you ever been caring for me, like, I feel like I consider you family because you've done family like things, right? And as long as you ain't never done anything that's not family like, to me, as far as like doing me dirty, doing me wrong, I feel like I'm always going to uh, be there in a time of need. Cause I feel like it's like a warrant. It's like, for me helping somebody, you get a lifetime warranty for me to help you if you've done right by me. Like, if you, and I don't mean like did something wrong I just didn't like. I mean like really like, something crazy, something unforgivable. Nothing that's like silly, like, oh, you did this with this, or you did that. You hugged this person. I ain't talking about that crazy. I'm talking about real stuff, for real, for real. You took my business. You know what I'm saying? You stole money from me. You hit my kid, or you did something like that. I'm not forgiving it. But if you done right, yeah, you got lifetime warranty for me, like, as far as like being willing to help you. Now, how far I go, are we going to determine, like, on where we at in that moment? Yes, of course. But if you know me, I'm going to go through the great lengths. Like, I can't think of you probably not going to find a person that's going to tell you, oh, yeah, he didn't really do all he said he was going to do. Nah, I've always done more. I've always done more. I've always overextended. And I was talking to Carlton a minute ago. He just was here, and I said, yo, the reason why certain things be hurting, or you feel a way about certain things when it comes to people treating you a certain way or whatever, is mainly because you overextend so much that when when you don't get nothing in return, or you feel like it's not being reciprocated or whatever, and I don't say I don't care about that, it just feels away because you overextended. If I just extend it, it's fine. Okay, here you go. But I'm like, that's insane for you not to see how I'm stretching. Look how I'm leaving the chair. I'm like, I'm really like coming all the way over there to help. I'm overextending. I'm doing something I ain't gotta do. And it's people that are in position in your life, far as like title wise, or in position in your life, far as like financial out, that ain't overextending, that ain't doing that. And a lot of times people like will shit on you or be quick to like ignore you or cut you off, whatever, but won't do that to the. And I get it, their family was like, damn, what was this family title when you needed XYZ? When you needed this, I was family. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know that I struggle with that, but I get it. Like the game is the game, bro. Like I don't. One thing I'm into it. That's the last question I had. So one thing I'm into it. I ain't got a bad bone in my body for nobody. It is what it is at this point. I love everybody for the most part. Like I really, really, truly, truly, truly do. I don't really have issues with nobody. I don't want no issues. I want to thrive. I want to be successful. I want to win. I want to get back to myself in a better version if possible. And if that means that, certain people uh ain't around, then they just ain't around. Like I never pushed nobody out my life. I never pushed nobody away, like ever. I've never done that. I feel like, you people leave when they're ready. Whenever they're ready. And normally it's when they got what they wanted, but that's a whole different story. But like people leave whenever they're ready and you go from there. And like I said, that's just what it is. But yeah, this was dope, man. I had one more question. I just forgot it. It was I think it was like, why is people ugly or something like that. But I don't know, because I asked that question. I asked it on Snapchat. People sent me questions like a week ago, and I think that one of them I got. Cam asked me something too about settling down or something like that. He be asking me the crazy. He asked me stuff he know I'm not gonna answer on here, but unbeknownst to him, I would have answered it. His Snapchat is not where the message is saved. But shout out to KB. She asked me. She said, why motherfuckers ugly? I don't know why they ugly. I can't tell you. I think it's a thing with genetics and like chromosomes, so in DNA. So like each person gives 23 chromosomes. So you have 46, 23 from dad, 23 from mom. They blend, and then whatever comes to that comes to that. So if people are ugly, it's probably just a bad blend of chromosomes and DNA. If people are handsome or beautiful, it may just be a batch of good blend from the DNA and chromosomes. So that's the only way I can answer that question. I don't know if it's a grooming thing. I don't know if it's in a lotion on a Vaseline, whatever you say. I'm not really sure how to answer that question. But I also think beauty's only skin deep. Yeah. And then Kim asked me about when I'm going to settle down and get married or something like that. It just really wasn't the time right. I do feel like this. I will say this about love. I think love is like it's rare, but it's also, if it's done right, it's like the lottery. So you have to think about this when you think about love. Like imagine meeting somebody, because you can love. You can love somebody. That's one thing. They can love you. You gotta be in love. That's one thing. But then to bring everything together for like settling down, being a family, all that stuff is like the blend gotta be right. That person that loves you gotta say, okay, I love you and I'm in love with you, but damn, do I view you as a good enough, let's say for me, a good enough man to be around my son or help raise my son? That man has to say, damn, do I view you as a good enough woman to help raise these girls? So that blend has to be right. Family blends don't really matter as much, but that might play a direct factor, because obviously if that person mama don't like you, or that person daddy don't like you, or vice versa, now y'all got outside noise. Another thing, you have to be able to get past the outside noise. Like outside noise has never been a thing for me, because I don't believe in bringing outside noise into a relationship. But everybody different. Some people, like, when something happen, they have to call somebody and say, what would you do? I ain't never been that kind of person. And I think because of that, anybody I brought around or whatever, they always been, I like them because I never said nothing bad about them. I never said they did this, they did it. Never been that person. I don't care what they did. Never talk about it, because it ain't nobody business but me and that person. But everybody not the same. So that's another thing. Outside noise also can affect that. But it's like a lottery to really meet, build, and both people be on the same page, want the same thing at the same time, at the same part in life, because you might be a certain age, or you may be at a certain point in your life, this person at a certain point in their life, and y'all just not on the same page. So imagine a book where y'all just randomly flick, oh, 67, oh, 67, y'all on the same page. Do that with somebody and see how quick see how many times y'all can do it out of 10 times. How many times y'all can stop on the same page? And I say that to say, like, let's say it's 0 out of 10. So that's a small percentage of the times you're gonna meet somebody and like y'all really gonna be on the same page. Not saying you have to always be on the same page, but it gotta be like, one person can't be reading fast and they on page 67 and they reading super fast and they just flipping through. Other person on page 42, but they reading super slow. Dude. This guy said, no, because then they person gonna be on 100, you still gonna be on page 52. So it's just one of them things where I think that, just settling down, all that stuff, like, it's cool and it's fun to talk about. Everybody always say that, but it's really more to it than people make it seem. People make it sound it's just this common, easy thing, and it's not. And but if you're willing to settle, like people willing to be, like for me, I want to be with the best person possible. I want to be with the person that I feel like light my day up, person that I feel like knows me, is willing to learn me and keep learning me, person that I feel like gonna know me inside out. I don't want nobody else to be able to be my best friend. Cause that's how you get the outside shit in the inside. Like, I want that person to know me inside out. I want to know that person inside out. I want to be able to the go-to person for that person. I want that person to be the go-to person for me. It's something that I want when it comes to like love and just that connection. I want to be that tight because in today's day and age, there's so much uncertainty with certain things. You don't know what somebody doing when they're here or when they're there, when they go out, or this, that, and third. You really just don't know. You don't know what somebody getting influenced by. Easily influenced is also another fact. There's so many things that can really break down why somebody's not this or somebody's not that. And for me, I just know what I want based off my past. I know like what worked for me and what didn't work. And I know that being a person's best friend always worked. The only downside is when you do lose that person, or if y'all go separate ways, whatever, you lose your best friend, and it's kind of hard to really build a new best friend. But it's possible. It's just super hard. But it take a lot of sculpting to know somebody inside out, learn somebody inside out, learn their tendencies, know who they are, get them to open up to you, like just be an open book. It's a lot that go into that, especially people that's closed off. And so for me, it's like I said, it's more like the lottery, but people win lottery sometimes. So I don't live my life like just, hoping it's going to happen, hoping it's going to happen, it'll happen, will happen. But I know that whenever I choose to settle down or if I choose to whatever, I want it to be the ultimate happiness. And I'm not saying that it's not going to be bad days, but that's with anything. It's bad days with anything. You know what I'm saying? But I do want that person to be able to unlock like a level of happiness that I didn't know existed. I want that for myself. A level of everything, security, happiness, just the way I feel about them, the way they feel about me, how comfortable I am around them. Like, I want all that to be right. And if it's not, then I don't want it. So, but Mortal Masters podcast, but yeah, this was dope. I ain't mean to go so long. Pause. I'm sorry. It's a Q&A. So, shout out to the questions. Tommy, you sent some great questions. Man, this was dope, man. This was dope. I appreciate y'all. Hold it down.